that is used by different say enterprise web, the internet. So this we already discussed. So there are some examples of the simple object access protocol request. You can see that the SOAP envelope, right? So this says, and it uses XML, and this is required for it to be known as SOAP request. Okay. You can also use Eclipse IDE to experiment this web service, to define your own web service. You can write a simple program for a calculator application, having different functions in calculator applications, and host these functions, multiplication, division. This is a simple program as web service. Okay, and call these web service. You write an expression that includes these functions, and according to BODMAS rule, these services will be invoked. Okay, so you can practice it using your any ID, Eclipse ID you can use, or there are many IDs that you can find on internet. This will help you in developing programmatic skills as far as the web system is concerned, which is of very great importance for the developers, and it will help you a lot in the placement. Okay, so please soil your hands for writing a piece of code on the service oriented architecture and test it. Okay, that will help you. Make use of REST architecture. REST architecture is nothing but representational something I'm forgetting. So REST architecture you can use as well, because REST architecture is popularly used these days, and in future also it will be used extensively, right? So how to write WSDL, how to write SOAP request, how to write a SOAP response, these all. So you will get a natural temptation to use ready-made editors, but editors will not help you to understand the depth of the program segments. Okay, so just to have a feel at the beginning, you can use the editors, but if you want to do on your own, then you need to understand the program components. Okay, so the conclusion here is that the service oriented architecture paradigm is nothing but a collection of services, right? You should know how to write a service, so it's a collection of services that together perform a complex business logic, right? A complex business logic can be an application or a particular functionality of buying a product. After searching a product, you want to buy a shoe, sport shoe, so that involves pulling information from different sources of sport shoes. Okay, and then selecting one depending on apply filtering criteria, the color, the size, the make, and the price range. So all these filters you can as you are setting, so they together constitute a complex business logic. So you can have simpler business simpler complex business logic, and write some services for that and see that how the whole thing works. Okay, yes, I was saying REST, the representational state transfer. Do you know stateful and stateless? Any idea? stateful service and stateless service?
No, sir.
Stateful service, stateless service is one, is that if you recall your state model, स्टेट डायग्राम जो आप लोग पढ़े हो, उसमें क्या है कि एक स्टेट से जब दूसरे स्टेट में जाता है तो पुराने स्टेट का इंफॉर्मेशन रखना जरूरी है या नहीं, that decides whether it is a stateful or stateless. Implementation is required. ठीक है, अगर हम एक बात करते हैं लॉगिन सेशन का, तो अब हम लॉगिन किए, लॉगिन करने के बाद थोड़ी देर किसी कारण हमने ब्राउजर क्लोज कर दिया, राइट? सो क्या होगा उस केस में कि थोड़ी देर के बाद सिस्टम से ऑटोमेटिक आपका लॉग आउट हो जाएगा, ठीक है? दिस इज वन सिचुएशन. द अदर सिचुएशन इज दैट द सिस्टम, आपने दोबारा जब फिर से लॉगिन किया, माने दोबारा जब ब्राउजर खोला, अगर आपको बिना लॉगिन अगर वहां ले जाए, उसी पेज पे ले जाए, तो विच इज गुड? ये दो सिचुएशन में से कौन सा अच्छा है? द लेटर सिचुएशन, राइट? Which means the web server provides you stateful service. मतलब कि आपका जो स्टेट था, ब्राउजर पहले जो स्टेट था, उसी स्टेट को आपको फैसिलिटेट कर रहा है, मेंटेन कर रहा है, राइट? ऑफ कोर्स थ्रू सम सिक्योरिटी कॉम्प्रोमाइज और नॉट, आई डोंट नो. तो इसको हम स्टेटफुल कहते हैं. एक और एग्जांपल हम लेंगे कि ट्रांजैक्शन. आप एक ट्रांजैक्शन कर रहे हैं, सपोज ड्यू टू सम रीजन द ट्रांजैक्शन फेलियर टेक्स प्लेस, एंड व्हेन यू बिगिन द ट्रांजैक्शन द नेक्स्ट टाइम, इफ द ट्रांजैक्शन इज नॉट सेटल्ड एंड यू नीड टू रीट्रांजैक्ट, एंड दो बार आपका अगर फाइनेंशियल डेबिट होता है, तो सर्टेनली दिस इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल टू यू, ठीक है? दिस इज एन इनकन्वीनियंस. तो अगर if there is a mechanism at the back end which can initiate the transaction from where it got failed, will certainly make you happy. So that is possible through state information maintenance. So these are some simple examples, one in transaction I gave you, one in login case, right? So these are the technological enhancements over the simple state-based, simple non-state-based server offerings, right? Clear हुआ बच्चों? Stateful and stateless. आप इसको लिख सकते हो, बाद में पढ़ो. Stateful क्या होता है, stateless क्या होता है with respect to web server. Stateful web server and stateless web server. Any questions?
No, sir.
So another terminology we will discuss is service mashup. So it's basically the concept of placing services together. That's basically placing the services, several services together, right? But what do you mean by this? When you develop a complex business logic, whatever services are required for that complex business services are to be put together, and they are to be orchestrated or invoked in a sequence defined by the corresponding workflow. Okay? So this concept of placing services together was originally thought for enterprise web, right? So what is an enterprise web? Enterprise web is one, right? Enterprise web, you see the right side of this figure. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
So if you see the right side of the picture, where you have at the bottom a number of applications, and on the upper side you see the number of enterprise users accessing these applications. So for an enterprise web, what is more important is to cater its clients. these users are the enterprise clients, and these users are interested more in having their business specific applications and functionalities, right? On the other hand, the enterprise web service provider will ensure that its clients get enriched services with respect to the applications they are accessing, right? So you can see enterprise web is about a fixed number of users. Here the number of clients are fixed, but they are expecting the enterprise service provider to meet their growing business application needs, right? Any questions, students? Enterprise web?
No, sir.
Okay. So earlier, these services means to offer these business application needs, whatever services were required, that were put together. And this service mashup concept was initially coined for enterprise web, but later the concept was used extensively in consumer web realm as well. And this gave rise to service mashup, right? So simplistically putting, service mashup is nothing but the concept of placing services together, right? So initially it was meant for enterprise web, but later it moved to consumer web domain as well. So what is a consumer web? How a consumer web is different from enterprise web? So as you say that now you look at the left side of the picture, where you have a single application which caters to a number of users, which caters to the needs of number of users. You see here on the enterprise side at the bottom you have many applications, and it caters to a limited number of clients, fixed number of clients or limited number of clients with their ever growing business application needs. And on the consumer website you have one application to cater the needs of a number of users. So one supports, consumer web supports scaling the users for one application, whereas enterprise web supports multiple applications to a fixed number of consumers with their growing business application needs. This is the key difference between consumer web and enterprise web. कोई एग्जांपल दे सकते हो बच्चों? कंज्यूमर वेब क्या है, एंटरप्राइज वेब क्या है?
सर कंज्यूमर वेब में गूगल ऐप,
ओके, और यूट्यूब,
सर ये कंज्यूमर वेब में,
यस, यूट्यूब इज अ कंज्यूमर वेब. और एंटरप्राइज वेब का?
The Salesforce, like all the CRM softwares.
Very good, very good, very good. So now you understand? So service mashup is the aggregation of information and services, right? Or service APIs. Sometimes आप अगर फोटोस इमेज लेते हो और उसके साथ जो मैप भी लेते हो आप, तो इन दोनों का अगर सर्विस आपको यूज करना है तो गूगल मैप सर्विस को आपको यूज करना है एंड फोटो का ये करना है, जैसे एग्जांपल दिया हुआ है, राइट? So user could combine the addresses and photographs of their library branches with a Google map to create a map mashup. ठीक है? तो आप अगर map mashup बनाना है, so this can take the services from multiple service APIs. Is it clear? So service mashup is the aggregation of information and services or service APIs programmatically and act as the building blocks of complex compositions. Right? So there are the mashup types are, you have enterprise mashup, which is nothing but the applications that combine their own resources, application and data with external web services. Okay? And similarly, consumer mashup combines data from multiple public sources in the browser and organize them through a simple browser user interface. अब बताओ इसका कोई एग्जांपल ले सकते हो कंज्यूमर मैशअप का? Places to travel in Gwalior. Places to travel or places to visit in Gwalior. तो इसमें क्या होगा? नगर निगम का कुछ होगा, टूरिज्म डेवलपमेंट का कुछ होगा, होटल का कुछ होगा, ये सारे जितने पब्लिक सोर्सेस इंफॉर्मेशन है इन सबको कंबाइन करके आपको एक सिंपल ब्राउजर यूजर इंटरफेस से आपको डिस्प्ले करेगा. सो दैट इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ कंज्यूमर मैशअप. Data mashup combines similar types of media and information from multiple sources into a single representation. तो क्या डिफरेंस है बेटा कंज्यूमर मैशअप एंड डेटा मैशअप में? They sound similar, but there is a fine difference. Did you get the difference? It's clear from the.
So in data mashup, it is similar type.
Yes.
All the information of
Yes.
same type.
Right. So mashup in general is nothing but the aggregation of information and services. Okay? And these are the different mashup types. I took the last example, last point, the service mashup types from Wikipedia. You can refer to it for more information. Okay? So we discussed this consumer web and enterprise web. So the other differences are for consumer web, simplicity is of prime importance because a number of users will have to increase and they should be able to access the functionality very easily. That's why simplicity is at the core of the consumer web, whereas robustness is at the core of the enterprise web because it is associated to business, special functionalities. Okay. Whereas in consumer web, it is the artifacts are the access rules are per artifact basis. For example, आप जब देखोगे कि कोई एक फोटो को शेयर करोगे तो कौन देख सकता है ये पर्टिकुलर फोटो, कौन देख सकता है, पब्लिक या प्राइवेट या ग्रुप ऑफ फ्रेंड्स एक देखे या फ्रेंड ऑफ फ्रेंड्स, ये सारा आप सेटिंग करते हो. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी से दैट एक्सेस रूल्स आर पर आर्टिफैक्ट बेसिस. या एक ग्रुप ऑफ एक एल्बम का है या फिर एक फोटो का है या एक ट्वीट का है, जो भी कहे कि हु कैन सी दिस एंड हु कैन modify it, who can review it, that's it. So access rule is per artifact basis in consumer web. Okay? While access rules are grouped spatio-temporally. In case of enterprise web, what is spatio-temporally? मतलब कि किस रीजन में कौन एक्सेस कर सकता है, कहां तक एक्सेस कर सकता है, ये सारे इंफॉर्मेशन कस्टमाइज किया जा सकता है इन एंटरप्राइज वेब. जैसे आपका ERP में कई सारे मॉड्यूल्स होते हैं एंड हर मॉड्यूल्स विल हैव डिफरेंट एक्सेस restrictions or permissions based on different roles and different places, right? So enterprise application ERP solution is an example of your enterprise web, which where the access rules are defined spatio-temporally or role based, right? Similarly, scaling aspect in consumer web is to participate when there is a increase in user base or clients, let's say user base. It is easy to partition and distribute the data and logic across many low cost service, which we refer to as distributed transaction model. I mean, where the applications can tolerate some stale information to some extent. आप मान लो कि देखोगे कि ग्वालियर में एक होटल का जो या एक प्लेस का कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन होगा, अगर वो थोड़ा सा 2 दिन पुराना डेटा आपको मिल जाता है तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, right? If you can tolerate, the application can tolerate stale information to some extent, right? But if it is a real time, then stale information are not tolerated. So scaling in enterprise web is no tolerance for stale data. So आप अगर replicate करते हो या cache करते हो data, there need to be robust mechanisms to propagate the data updation across all the replica servers or across all the cached points. Otherwise, what will happen? One application will have access to the stale data, and the other application will have access to the fresh data. So there will be inconsistency in the data available across the distributed servers, right? So scaling in enterprise web is not straightforward, and that requires a lot of background management to see that the complete transaction integrity are maintained, right? Any questions in this point? This is very important. Any questions that comes to your mind?
No, sir.
Okay. So then in consumer web, application integration with the interfaces tend to be simpler and lighter and often client centric, whereas in the enterprise space, the application integration has to be thoroughly and thoughtfully designed and managed, and often has an impact on all layers of application. Okay. Any questions, students?
No, sir.
So now, with the advent of software as a service, the websites are driven towards SaaS websites or web-based SaaS, which are different from the traditional websites that we have been seeing. So this is where we need to know that what is a web-based SaaS and what is a website. What's the difference, right? So you can below link you can visit to understand in detail about the difference between a web-based SaaS and a website. Okay, I have taken few points from this place to discuss here. That the SaaS is a software model that provides software services to the internet, right? On the other hand, a website is a combination of several web pages that can be accessed through the same URL. So the baseline, the common denominator among the SaaS, web-based SaaS and website is that both are accessed through the internet using a web browser and published on one or more web servers. But the difference is that websites are built using software tools, but not all websites provide a software service. Whereas websites are created for different purposes than providing software through the cloud. Is this clear, students? I mean, there are a number of examples that you can take to understand this. Websites are created for different purpose. Institute का website है तो आपको केवल institute का website उस information provide करने के लिए है, right? But if I want to make IIITM website as a SaaS website, तो क्या होगा बताओ? कैसे मैं इसको SaaS website में डिजाइन कर सकता हूँ, रीडिजाइन कर सकता हूँ?
सर एडमिशन प्रोसेस की सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड हो सकती है एंड
अरे बताओ
सर एडमिशन प्रोसेस एक तरह से
एडमिशन प्रोसेस तो हमारा मान लो कि सॉर्टिंग होगा एप्लीकेंट्स तो उनका सॉर्टिंग के लिए अगर मैं किसी और से सर्विस ले रहा हूँ आर यू गेटिंग? एडमिशंस के लिए भी कुछ सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स हैं, एग्जामिनेशन के लिए कुछ सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स हैं। अगर मैं उनका सर्विस ले रहा हूं और उनका एक होस्ट कर रहा हूं मैं अपने वेबसाइट पे, जो कि आप जब स्टूडेंट जब या एप्लीकेंट जब उस लिंक पे क्लिक करेगा, it invokes the service functionality of the service hosted at some other place, जो कि स्पेशलाइज्ड सर्विस प्रोवाइडर है उस पर्टिकुलर एग्जामिनेशन के लिए। तो that I will call as that SaaS based website। या मैं अगर कई सारे वर्चुअल लैब्स को अगर प्रोवाइड करा रहा हूं हमारे वेबसाइट के थ्रू से, then I will call that as software as a service oriented website, right? So आप और एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हो एग्जाम्पल। रिमेंबर स्टूडेंट्स, anything that you read, you understand, unless you are able to coin your own example, own understanding example, and validate that example through your wisdom, your study is not complete. And listen, one important thing, don't try to read everything, because it is not possible to master in everything. But there will be some or more than one component within your sphere of study where you may be having inclination, and master that, master that। आपको जब क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग पढ़ोगे तो ऐसा कभी नहीं हो सकता है कि आपको सब कुछ पसंद आएगा, ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता। You may be liking one or little more than one items or topics. Master those topics so that at the end of the subject you can say that I am good, I have studied cloud computing, I know overall about cloud computing, however I am good at this topic within cloud computing. Unless you are able to say that, it has no meaning. And nobody, believe me, nobody expects you to be good in everything. It's very rare. If you are, then it's good, exceptional, but it's very difficult. So at least say that I am good at this. And when you say good at this, you need to get certified, okay, by the experts कि हाँ, you are really good about it. उसके लिए कल्चर करो, ठीक है स्टूडेंट्स? So this class gives you a fair, I mean, these 2-3 classes had given you a fair idea about the introductory aspects of cloud computing, right? Then we will discuss about the cloud computing architecture in detail in the next class. Any questions, students? So I am uploading this PPT, which is an extension of the PPT that I uploaded in the previous class, right? So please go through and explore more and more things, right? Okay. Thank you. If you have no questions, then we can conclude here. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.